Lila had been with Ethan for 2 years, a relationship she thought was solid despite his occasional jabs at her curly hair or thrift store style. At 29, she lived in Willow Creek, a quaint town near Boise, Idaho, working at a boutique called Thread and Bloom. Ethan, 31, claimed to be a rising star at a marketing firm in nearby Pineview, always spinning tales of boardroom wins. When he invited her to dinner with his co-workers at the Timberline, a swanky Pineview restaurant, Lila saw it as a milestone. "Meet the team," he'd said, grinning. She spent hours picking a dress, imagining a night of connection. Willow Creek buzzed with spring, tulips lining Main Street, kids chasing kites. Lila loved its simplicity, a contrast to Ethan's flashy stories. They'd met at a Boise art fair, bonding over coffee and his charm. She'd ignored his snide remarks about her small-town job or basic taste, thinking he'd soften with time. The dinner felt like progress, a chance to blend their worlds. She drove to Pineview, nerves tingling, picturing laughs and clinking glasses. Ethan greeted her with a half-smile, ushering her to a table of 6, sharp suits, sharper eyes. The night soured fast. His co-workers, all polished Pineview types, barely acknowledged her. Ethan didn't introduce her properly, just Lila, from Willow Creek, and smirked when she spoke. She tried joining their marketing chatter, mentioning a sale at Thread and Bloom. "Retail's cute," Ethan cut in, but not exactly high stakes. The table chuckled, Lila flushed. His digs grew, mocking her dress, her simple life. She shrank, forcing smiles, hoping it'd pass. By dessert, she felt like a prop in his show, not a partner. The Timberline's lights dimmed as dinner wound down, but Lila's dread spiked when the bill arrived. $3.20 for wine, steaks, and truffle fries. Ethan slid it toward her, voice loud. "You've got this, right?" She blinked, confused. "We're done," he announced, standing. "You should thank me for the 2 years. I could have done better." His co-workers snickered, one muttering, "Harsh man." Ethan shrugged. "She'll figure it out." He walked out, leaving her with the tab and their stares. Lila's hands shook as she paid, the server's pitying look burning worse than the cost. She stumbled to her car, tears blurring Pineview's neon signs. 2 years, dates at Boise bistros, nights in his sleek apartment, ended with a public gut punch. At home in Willow Creek, she collapsed on her couch, replaying his words. Grateful? For what? His backhanded love. She called Mia, her best friend since high school, sobbing. "He dumped me like trash, Mia," in front of everyone. Mia, a barista at Brew Haven, listened, then fumed. "He's a jerk, Lila. Always was." She paused. "You know he's full of it, right? That job he brags about." "Bull." Lila wiped her eyes. "What do you mean?" "He's no exec," Mia said. "My cousin works at his firm. He's an assistant, barely above intern." Lila's jaw dropped. The promotions, the business trips to Seattle, lies? Her hurt hardened into curiosity. If Ethan had faked that, what else was he hiding? She'd been humiliated, but maybe she could turn the tables. April bloomed in Willow Creek as Lila dug into Ethan's facade. Mia's tip lit a fire. She called Mia's cousin, Nate, a junior analyst at Peak Pulse, Ethan's Pineview firm. Assistant. Nate laughed over the phone. "Yeah, he fetches coffee, files papers. No corner office, barely a cubicle." Lila pressed. "The trips? The raises?" "Made up," Nate said. "He's been stuck at entry level for years." She thanked him, mind racing. Ethan had spun a life of power, late-night strategy calls, a team he led. All fiction. She scoured his ex-posts, boasts of closing deals in Seattle, photos at swanky bars. A reverse image search showed one was a stock photo, another, a Boise dive he'd captioned client lunch. Lila's anger grew. He'd mocked her small job while living a lie. She texted old mutual friends, fishing casually. "Ethan's killing it, huh?" One replied, "He says that, but I saw him bussing tables at a Pineview cafe last month." Another layer peeled back. Then, a curveball. Ethan's mom, Carol, called from Boise. "Lila, Ethan's birthday dinner's next week, May 5th, at our place. He says you've got big news." Lila froze. They'd been split a month. He'd told his family they were still together? Sure, she lied, wheels turning. Carol gushed. "He's so proud of his work lately." "Proud of what, photocopying?" Lila hung up, a plan forming. She wouldn't just ghost. She'd let Ethan's lies collapse under their own weight. Lila spent days plotting. Ethan's birthday dinner was a stage. He'd humiliated her publicly. She'd return the favor, but smarter. She called Jasper, a Peak Pulse co-worker she'd met at the Timberline, who'd seemed uneasy with Ethan's stunt. He's a tool, Jasper admitted over coffee in Willow Creek. Brags about dumping you like it's a badge. Lila leaned in. Help me. Bring proof, his real job, anything. Jasper grinned. Got texts from him trashing you. And his timesheet, he's no exec. She prepped like a general. Jasper's evidence, Nate's intel, her own screenshots. Ethan's lies were a house of cards. His family's questions could topple it. Carol had mentioned his dad, Henry, a retired engineer, and sister, Grace, a nurse. Both sharp, no nonsense. If they pressed, Ethan might crack. Lila's role? Plant seeds, let Jasper deliver the blow. She'd exposed the breakup too. His cruelty at the Timberline deserved airtime. Willow Creek's quiet steadied her. She walked its trails, rehearsing lines, shedding Ethan's shadow. 2 years of his digs, "You're lucky I'm with you," had chipped her confidence. No more. Mia cheered her on, brewing tea at Lila's kitchen table. "He'll choke on his own garbage," she said. Lila nodded, resolve firm. May 5th loomed, a Boise showdown, not a celebration. She'd dress sharp, smile sweet, and watch Ethan unravel. May 5th, Lila drove to Boise, nerves electric. Carol's house was a tidy ranch, porch festooned with balloons. Ethan greeted her at the door, smug. "Knew you'd come." He wore a blazer, playing the star. Lila forced a smile, stepping into a dining room of chatter. Henry, stern and gray. Grace, sizing her up. Carol, fussing with lasagna. Our power couple. Carol beamed. Ethan squeezed Lila's shoulder, whispering, "Play along." She nodded, stomach churning. Dinner kicked off with Ethan's script. "Big quarter at Peak Pulse," he bragged, fork waving. "Let a pitch, nailed it." Henry frowned. "What pitch?" Ethan faltered. New client. Tech stuff." Grace smirked. "You're vague lately." Lila sipped wine, silent, as Ethan doubled down. "Promoted last month. Team lead now." Carol clapped. Henry's eyes narrowed. "Team lead? What's your title?" Ethan stammered. "Senior strategist." Jasper arrived mid-meal, late from work, carrying a folder. "Hey, Ethan, brought your timesheet. You left it." He winked at Lila, sliding it to Henry. Ethan paled. "That's nothing. Looks like..." Henry cut in, scanning. 10 hours last week? No overtime." Grace grabbed it. "This says assistant, not strategist." Ethan laughed, shrill. "Typo." Lila spoke up, calm. "No typo. He's been lying. To you, to me." The room stilled, all eyes on her. Lila laid it out, voice steady. "Ethan dumped me a month ago, at the Timberline, with his co-workers. Said I should be grateful. He dated me. Left me with a $320 bill." Carol gasped. Henry's jaw tightened. "He mocked my job, my life, in front of them." Jasper nodded. "He bragged about it. Here's proof." He tossed texts on the table. Ethan's words. "Taught her a lesson. She's nothing." Grace read aloud. "Furious. You're disgusting." Ethan's face reddened. "She's lying." Jasper's jealous. "Then explain this." Henry snapped, waving the timesheet. "Assistant, not lead." "What's real?" Ethan floundered. I exaggerated. You lied," Grace said. Lila added, "Your trips? Your raises? Fake." Nate from Peak Pulse confirmed it. Henry turned to Jasper. "True." "Yeah," Jasper said. "He's bottom rung." Ethan exploded, slamming the table. "You're all against me." He stormed to the door, yelling, "You ruined my life." It slammed, shattering a porcelain plate, Carol's prized tulip design. Silence fell. Henry rubbed his temples. "We raised that." Carol cried softly. Lila stood, exhaling. "I'm sorry it came to this." Grace hugged her. "You didn't deserve him." Jasper smirked. "He did that to himself." Days later, Ethan unraveled. Mia texted Lila. "He's trashed, showed up at his ex's in Pineview, drunk, ranting about you." He'd pounded on her door, slurring, "Lila's a snake." She'd called cops. He'd stumbled off. Then, threatening texts to Jasper, "You're dead for this." Jasper screenshot them, unfazed. He's a clown. Ethan tried Lila next. banging on her Willow Creek apartment at 2 a.m., yelling, "You owe me." Security hauled him out, banned him from the complex. His parents called Lila, apologetic. "He's cut off," Henry said. "No more money." "We didn't know." Carol sobbed. "He lied to us too." Lila felt a pang. They weren't bad people, just blind. Pete Pulse fired him soon after. HR cited misconduct, fueled by Jasper's reports of his post-dinner threats. Ethan's ex-posts turned wild. Betrayed by everyone. Watch out. Friends ditched him. His lies had no takers. Willow Creek stayed Lila's refuge. She walked its streets, head high, shedding Ethan's weight. Mia brought coffee, grinning. "He's a mess, you're free." Lila nodded. The dinner had gutted her, but it had gutted him more. His spiral was his own making. She'd just lit the match. June bloomed, and Lila rebuilt. She blocked Ethan everywhere, his rants fading to static. Thread and Bloom gave her a raise. Manager now, not just clerk. She redecorated her apartment. New curtains, a cactus, erasing his traces. Nights once spent crying over his jabs became book marathons. Mia sprawled on her couch. "You're glowing," Mia said. Lila felt it. Lighter, surer. Jasper texted, checking in. "Ethan's gone quiet, moved to Spokane, I hear." They met for lunch in Boise, bonding over his dry humor and her resilience. "You're cool," he said. "Should have seen it sooner." A friendship sparked, no rush, just ease. Lila liked that. Trust rebuilt slowly. She told Henry and Grace too, over coffee. "I'm okay," she said. Henry nodded. "You're tougher than he ever was." Willow Creek summer hummed, festivals, fireflies. Lila joined a hiking group, legs strong on trails. Ethan's voice, "You're basic," echoed less. She wasn't basic, she was enough. The bill, the breakup, the lies, they'd hurt, but they'd freed her too. July, Lila reflected. Ethan's humiliation had cracked her open, but she'd healed stronger. 2 years of his subtle cuts, "Your job's a joke. I'm out of your league," had dulled her shine. The Timberline night was the final slash, but exposing him at Boise flipped the script. She trusted too long, ignored red flags. Never again. Jasper shared more. "You faked everything," resumed charm. Crashed when it caught up. Lila saw it now. Ethan's life was a mirage, hers real. She'd paid that $320 bill, but he'd paid more: family, job, pride. Carol sent a card. Sorry for him. Be well. Lila kept it. A quiet closure. Grace texted, "Your family, he's not." It stung, then soothed. Willow Creek's river glittered as Lila walked, clarity settling. She dodged a deeper trap: marriage, kids, a life tethered to his lies. Painful? Yes. Worth it? Absolutely. She was 29, free, with Mia's laughs and Jasper's banter. Ethan was a lesson, not her story. August 2025, Lila stood tall. Ethan was in Spokane, a disgraced footnote, jobless, friendless, per Jasper's last update. She didn't gloat. She moved on. Thread and Bloom thrived under her. She launched a vintage line, customers raving. Mia threw a party, Willow Creek crew, music, cake. Jasper toasted, to Lila, unbreakable. She grinned, whole. She hiked Boise's foothills, wind in her hair, no ghost trailing. The Timberline sting faded. Ethan's words couldn't touch her now. She'd seen his truth, escaped his cage. Friendship with Jasper grew: movies, coffee, no pressure. Mia teased, "New boyfriend?" "Just a friend." Lila laughed. Time would tell. One night, stars over Willow Creek, Lila sat on her balcony. 2 years with Ethan had been a detour, not a road. She'd paid a price, $320, her pride, but gained more: strength, self-worth, a life hers alone. He tried to break her. She'd risen instead. And that was victory.